So a couple months ago, I had a really cool photo shoot happen that was totally unexpected. And what I want to do in this video is three things. I'm going to share the backstory behind this photo shoot. I'm also going to show you how I got these photos. I'm going to show you the equipment that I used and really break them down for you. Number three, I'm going to share some takeaways from the experience and how I've been impacted by what happened. So I'm going to have links in the description below to go directly to the different sections of this video. I do encourage you to watch it all the way through because it's a really cool story. Speaking of story, this photo shoot did not come about like my typical passion project. So here I am in this gravel parking lot. This is the location where I took these photos. Most passion projects that I do, I'll see an image in my head or a series of images, I'll sketch them out, and then I'll set out to go create them. But this photo shoot was just different. We were walking into school, going into the coffee shop. I see this guy out of the corner of my eye sitting outside by himself. I look over and I just freeze. This guy is really cool looking, this rugged looking dude, got this cowboy hat, this awesome beard. I need to take this guy's photograph. And this never happens to me. And then I'm just hit with this fear. I can't just walk up to this random guy and ask to take his photograph. What's he gonna think of me? So as I'm thinking these things, he gets up and he starts to walk away. He heads to the parking lot and I'm watching him just disappear into the distance. Am I gonna do this or am I not? And finally, I just started heading his direction. And I catch up to him, I'm like, excuse me, sir, this is totally random, but I think you have a really cool look. I'm a photographer, I would love to take your photo sometime. And he said, yeah, sure, that'd be great. I was super excited. I'm like, okay, cool. Can I get your contact information? We'll get in touch and we'll schedule a time to do a shoot. And then he tells me, well, I don't live here. I'm actually just passing through. I'm leaving in 20 minutes to go to Wyoming. And I'm thinking, no, this thought just pops into my mind. Why not do the photo shoot right now? I just flat out asked him, I know you said you're leaving in 20 minutes. Would you mind waiting and doing the photo shoot now? And then he pointed down to this gravel parking lot. He said, that's my truck, that's my trailer down there. I'll meet you there. I'm so excited. I just take off running to my car. I'm driving home. I'm going through a checklist in my head. Well, okay, what gear do I need? I need my camera, I need my light. Throw it in the car as quickly as I can and I start heading back. And on the way back is when this fear just starts trying to get in the way. Again, you're not gonna do a good job. Why are you even doing this? You're gonna take this guy's time. He needs to leave. But I just say, no, I'm a good photographer and this is gonna be a great time. I pull up, his trailer's so cool. He painted it himself. I thought that's perfect for the first setup I want to do. I get him in front of his trailer, I set up the light, and I take my first photo, and just like usual, all the nerves just leave. I get full of joy because I love doing this. And what was originally going to take 10 to 15 minutes ended up taking 2 hours. We would take some photos, he would tell me stories, we would chat, just talk about life. This guy has traveled all over the world. He's been a hunter, a fisherman, an oil guy. He's a carpenter now in his trailer. He has a little wood shop. He's telling me he has this deep love for indigenous people, that he has actually lived with tribes all around the world. California on the coast, in Alaska, British Columbia. He was out in Australia. This guy really just started opening up, and you could really see that come to life in the photos. During the photos, I notice he's holding something. I don't really think much of it, but once we get done, he shows me these two rocks, and he goes on to tell me that he got this one from an indigenous people. They live in the redwoods. And then he starts to tell me about this other one that he got in Australia. And he said, I want you to have these. This guy has traveled the world and met these amazing people. They gave them to him as gifts. And at the end of our photo shoot, he gives them to me as a gift. These now sit on my desk, and I look at these every day and think about this special photo shoot that I got to have with Pat. And it just shows how amazing photography is to really connect to people. So what equipment did I use to shoot this? I have my camera, the Canon 5D Mark IV, and my lens is the 24-70 2.8. I love being able to switch between the 35 and the 50 mil. When I want to show more of the environment, I do the 35. And when I want to get closer and get a little more detail, that's when I switch to the 50. And I have my one light, and that light is the Buff Einstein. I have the medium size octabox on it. It's double diffused, and I've got a heavy duty C-stand because I do not want this thing falling over. And I have the Buff battery pack that I use to power the light. And the way I trigger it is I have this Cyber Commander. You can adjust the light so you don't have to go back to the light and adjust the power. You can do it all from here. That's all I use for the shoot. So that's the equipment I used on this photo shoot, but how did I use it? Let's look at a couple of these photos and I'm gonna show you where my lighting was set and then also my camera settings. Now, something that's important to note about your camera settings is you can't just take the settings I used and put them in your camera and get the same results. There's a lot of factors, and the biggest one is lighting. And I even have different settings in between my images here. This image was actually the last one we took. I had turned off my light, we were just chatting, and he looks off as he's telling me this story, and I just quickly raised my camera and got this shot. Totally natural light. It was a cloudy day, so it was nice and soft, which was just perfect. The lens was at 50 millimeters because I wanted to get a little closer and get a little more detail. The aperture on the lens was set at 5.6. The ISO was set at 640, and the shutter speed was 1/160. Now, like I talked about, lighting is so important for your camera settings. If you look at this other image, it's the same location, but this image I had my strobe set up, and you can see in this beautiful drawing, I'm just a great artist, of where my octabox was coming from, the direction it was coming from. I had it to his side, but I had it just off the frame, as close as I could get it to him so that it would be really soft. The closer your softbox or your light source is to your subject, the softer the light. So what were the settings on this image? 50 millimeter, just like the last one. 5.6 on the aperture, just like the last one. But this is where the changes come in. The ISO is 125. On the other image, the ISO was 640. It was a lot higher. It's because I had my light set up for this one. I was pumping in a lot of light, a lot more than the natural light was giving, so I had to lower the sensitivity of my camera. And my shutter speed was 1/200. The other one was 1/160. I wanted a little faster shutter speed so I could block out more of that ambient. So the reason I love to use lighting is because it gives you more control. So I was able to block out more of the ambient light, really just mold the lighting the way I wanted it to be. So a huge part of photography is the edit. You have the first part, which is capturing your images. That's a lot of work, but that's not all that photography is. There's a whole second part of editing your images to get them to look like you envisioned. If you see my favorite photo here, here's the raw, and then here's the final edit. In future videos, I'm gonna go over my editing process, but right now I just wanted to quickly show my camera settings, what my lighting setups were to get these images. There's a lot of takeaways for me personally from this shoot. Photography is a gift. It's a gift we need to share with others. To be able to hear someone's story, but then to be able to see their face, to see their story also come to life is amazing. And it's something that I love doing. More importantly in this situation, I got to connect with somebody that was a stranger and now isn't. And it was all because of this beautiful craft and beautiful art called photography. These are some of my favorite photos I've ever taken. If I hadn't had the courage to walk up to a total stranger, they wouldn't exist. So I just want to encourage you, look for those opportunities. Look for those people that you can take photos of and connect with. I hope this inspires you to go capture stories, to go connect with people. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more stuff like this, and I'll see you in the next video.